What's going on, everybody? The Arid Lord is back for another Walking Dead vlog, and I wanted to make this vlog on the day that all of this insane news dropped, because who would have thought New York Comic Con 2019 would be the mini San Diego Comic Con for The Walking Dead? Because normally San Diego Comic Con is where all of the big announcements are made, but I guess upon the launch of season 10, the casting crew and creators decided to make this a very ceremonial date of announcements. Perhaps upon further review, you could say that 10 years of The Walking Dead is one reason to celebrate. On October the 31st, which is Halloween of this year, we will be at 10 years of The Walking Dead. That's when the pilot, season 1, episode 1 of The Walking Dead came out. And so they probably wanted to do some type of hype announcement. And since there's going to be no big conventions that the creators go to, other than the Walker Stalker event that I'm going to in Atlanta in a few weeks, where there's going to be actors there, in terms of Scott Gimple, Angela Kang, New York Comic Con was their main place to have all of like the big announcements. So I was surprised. On Saturday, I'm looking at my Twitter feed and it's blowing up left and right, and I'm just like, whoa. Like, first of all, I see Lauren Cohan, who is the actress who plays Maggie, in my news feed, and it's announced that she's coming back. She's coming back in season 10. This is not fan speculation. We don't have to do predictions about this anymore. Maggie is coming back at some point in season 10. And I'm just interested now to see how she's going to react to the fact that all of the leadership that was in place when she left, they were all killed by the Whisperers. I'm talking Jesus, Enid, Tara. All of them were wiped out by the Whisperers. And now all of the Kingdomers have moved to the hilltop. So now Ezekiel, Jerry, and all of those people are now living in kind of the empty spaces that were, I guess, created from the deaths of the Pike victims and anyone else that the Whisperers killed. So it's going to be interesting to see what Maggie's reaction is. Because the thing is, she has been removed from the storyline. Like, she doesn't even know who the Whisperers are. Now, would the show bring her back after the Whisperer conflict is concluded? Would she come in as some sort of Gandalf from Lord of the Rings, where she comes in with some reinforcements with Georgie and tries to take down the Whisperers or their giant herd? That's a possibility. But I really don't think... I mean, she doesn't know who these people are. She's been on the road seemingly trying to recruit people with Georgie and trying to spread this key to a future kind of lifestyle. I mean, that character Georgie was only in one episode, one very odd episode, where one half you had Rick versus Negan, and the other half you had Georgie talking about the future and building this and that and this, and it was just seemed like blueprints just kind of fell out of the sky. I mean, you know, they were at war with the Saviors, and this hippie woman just waltzes into Virginia with all of this information. It just seemed a little spontaneous to me, but another thing to keep in mind is that Glenn Jr., or Herschel Jr. is the real name, is Maggie's kid. If you remember in those first few episodes of season 9, when there was the attempt on Maggie's life, you'll recall that character, the baby, the little Asian baby, was very young. But now that there's been a 6-year time jump, that kid is now 7-8 years old. So you're gonna have this Asian boy around the same age of Judith, maybe I guess a year or two off, is going to be a character now. So you would have to cast, basically you'd have a casting call, I would have to imagine, because this is if you're gonna bring Maggie back in the show, this is a dynamic that you have to establish. You have to establish what she's been doing with Georgie, what her interaction with her son is now that he's been the main traveling companion besides Georgie and any of the other hippies. So you need to establish that. Like, that's a pretty important fact to communicate to the audience. And it's interesting because the final issue of The Walking Dead, for spoilers and for those who've read the final issue of The Walking Dead, we see a grown-up Herschel in that comic issue, and he's a bit of a jerk, condescending, very cocky. So he's only in one issue, because in the rest of the issues he's just a kid or unborn. But in that flash forward 193 issue, he's actually older, and he's doing a bunch of odd things. He's like running like a Walking Dead circus, where because walkers are so rare, he has like a caravan of walkers that he shows for like to kids for like money, and he's kind of like a traveling salesman, circusman. But he's an oddball. He's an odd fish, nothing like Glenn, doesn't have the ideals of leadership like Maggie. And I wonder if they're going to keep his just sassiness and unwillingness to just be a helping hand. I don't know if that the character of, because this is an 8 or 9 year old that we're talking about, still a kid, could still get away with it. So will they do that? Not sure. But that's one big piece of information, and I'd love to just make a video about this and Maggie, and those are firstly some things that I'd like to know. What do you guys think they're going to do with grown-up Herschel Jr.? Maggie, after all these years, what's her reaction going to be to all the people that have died from the hilltop and beyond? She obviously knows that Rick, she saw that with what happened to Rick, so she doesn't need to be filled in on that, but yeah, there's been some changes since Rick got, swept away in the current, and she left after that. So, lots of stuff. The other news, there was a trailer for the new Walking Dead series, which basically, I didn't do a reaction video for it. I thought about it, but it kind of looks like The Walking Dead meets Stranger Things. If any of you guys have seen the first 3 seasons of Stranger Things, and they just announced the 4th season recently, but it's like the kids. It's like, the kids who have grown up in the apocalypse, and it's like a teen-centric show. And I don't think that's the worst idea. Now, hear me out, because I know some people might roll their eyes, like, oh, this is just going to be like teen drama, stupid nonsense, relationships, and, people, like, basically, the occasional walker kill, but then you're just going to have kids being stupid teenagers. That's possible, yes. But I think that this is different. Fear the Walking Dead, again, I always said, I knocked the show for years that it was a Walking Dead clone. The first few episodes showed promise because it took place before the events of The Walking Dead, before the outbreak occurred. And I thought it was going to maybe focus on the virus, how people started learning about the virus, certain things, as audiences, we know how the virus works. They don't. For 3 or 4 episodes, it ran with that concept. Then in episode 5, there was a military lockdown. And then by episode 6, and by the end of the first season, the apocalypse was upon them. And it turned into The Walking Dead 2.0 with characters we didn't care enough about, whether it was the acting or the writing. I just didn't care. Whether it was season 2 on the cruise ship, season 3 at that military camp, season 4 with the vultures, and then you had the change in direction because Morgan and other characters started to come onto the show, and then season 5 was a colossal disaster. No direction at all as to what they wanted to do. They spent the first half of the season fumbling around with a plane, and the second half of the season trying to recruit people with a video camera. And then I didn't see the episode, but I did see some spoilers as to the fate of a certain character that's not even confirmed because they did a jump cut very similar to the season 6 finale, Negan, Lucille, who did he kill kind of thing. So anyway, the fact that this new Walking Dead series is a breath of fresh air, that it has a different concept than just a group of adults surviving the apocalypse, I like that. One other interesting tidbit of information. This community is one of the communities from the helicopter group. And this is confirmed by Scott Gimple, the man that people love to hate to love, whatever. He confirmed that those 3 circles on the helicopter, those white circles that are congregated together, they represent 3, I don't know if it's 3 different communities or it's the union of a few different communities. And this civilization with the teenagers and whatever adults are running the show, that's one of them. So what I'm to believe is that this is it's a safe haven from the helicopter group, and it's different divisions. So I would say, guessing now, you have like the civilian division where people are trying to just build normal lives and earn honest wages by trying to help whatever trade they can. Very similar to maybe Alexandria or Hilltop, where you have people just working the best jobs that they can do, whether it's farming or blacksmithing. But then you've got like the research division. So you have the resources to research the virus, and there's different sects to this trifecta that all have different skills in different sections, colonies almost, and they form like a new nation. Almost like, you know, from like Fallout New Vegas, like the New California Republic, or like some like united nation within the broken United States. I said the Enclave from Fallout 3 because that's the remnants of the U.S. Capitol, the Army, just the remnants of the politicians that were running the show before things went to shit. I still think that's the case, but this is going to be, I think, a civilian look at things. But, of course, I'll watch it because, I think, again, a different concept. Teenagers, as long as they get good child actresses and actors. I mean, again, I've sung the praises of Kaylee Fleming, who plays Judith. Amazing that when Rick left the show and a lot of people were disappointed and were fearful of the direction of the show, they bring this unbelievable actress on to fill the shoes of Chandler Riggs, aka Carl, who had died a season before. So now you have this new kid that's rising up with the apocalypse, and I think she is 1,000 times more successful an actor in all ways, shapes, and forms than Chandler Riggs. And I don't mean to knock Chandler Riggs' acting. I personally wasn't a fan. Now that's not to say that he's a bad actor, but many times I didn't like his performance. And that's not to say he didn't have any good performances. He certainly did, certain times during certain seasons. But Kaylee Fleming, every time I watch her, I think she's hitting a home run. She's hitting a home run with the bases loaded. Every single time. I love every scene she's in. She has great chemistry with Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who plays Negan. Unbelievable actress. Unbelievable. And she's one of the people I'm meeting at Walker Stalker in a few weeks. And I'm going to tell her, like, her going on the show was one of the best decisions Angela Kang Gimple ever made. Finding her as an actress. Unbelievable. If they can find actors and actresses like that for this new Walking Dead show, it has the potential to be successful. And I'm just saying that up front. And having the connection to the larger Walking Dead universe, that this is one of the groups connected to the helicopter group, I think you have a great way to tease the helicopter group more, to give us some clues and Easter eggs, and that would get people hyped for the movies, because that's what that episode of Fear the Walking Dead should have done. The one where Althea bumps into Isabel from the helicopter group, and there's some information. Isabel says that what they're doing will ensure the future, but she just flies away, and there's nothing ever explored really about that at all. So yeah, I hope that they satisfy that, as well as make their own unique product. And I don't want it to fizzle out the way that Fear the Walking Dead is a disaster. Let's be honest, it doesn't need a 6th season. It should have wrapped up with season 5. Either the characters all die, or some of them trickle into either this new series, or some go to Virginia back to the original show. It's just, it's a mess. And again, I don't want to get into it now, but there's a reason why I was reviewing it for half the season, and it was so bad that I just had no compelling reason to finish the rest half. And from all reports, I made the right call in not following the rest of season 5. So just saying that up front right now. So then, yeah, man, Lauren Cohan's when she came, it was funny because she was dressed up like a Negan cosplayer at Comic-Con, and then some of the actors didn't even know that she was on stage, and then she pulls off the mask. Oh, it's a big reveal, blah, 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 like huge. So that was really cool. So Lauren Cohan coming back, Maggie, new series, Hopefully it's good. New trailer came out. Then they made an announcement. So, Princess. I don't know if you guys follow the Walking Dead comics. I'm going to put an image up here so you know who I'm talking about. Princess is a character in the Walking Dead comics who had potential. I remember when the comic issue came out with her artwork, I was kind of intrigued. It was very different for the show. But I think Kirkman was trying to create another Negan character that people gravitated to for one reason or another, and it just didn't work. I don't know what her purpose was. Like, she just was this meandering character that just, she filled no role at all, especially in the Commonwealth arc. She was irrelevant. And by the time the comics ended, I was just like Princess who? What? Princess Diane? Yeah, Princess Fiona? Like, what princess I don't even remember. So, they cast her. They actually announced the actress that is playing Princess in The Walking Dead, and I want to make sure I get this name right. My God, I'm gonna scroll. It's Lazaro is the last name. It's Poala Lazaro. All right. Clearly, Spanish, not my second language. I'm very sorry if I screwed up the pronunciation of that name, but you can see the image of the actress next to her comic book counterpart. This was a surprising announcement because they said that she's coming in the second half of season 10 in January, like the spring of 2020. Now, they don't bring Princess into the comics until the Whisperers are all dead and defeated. I just want to make that clear. So, are we gonna see the end of Alpha, Beta, and all of the Whisperers by the mid-season finale? Because that seems too soon. I was thinking that, hell, I thought the Whisperers would just be the villains for the entirety of season 10. They all get killed off by the end of season 10. And then maybe you have some hints towards the Commonwealth, because I mean they did tease us with the radio, so the Commonwealth and the radio would have to come into play, but that's probably only gonna be with the chats that Eugene has infrequent conversations with this unknown mystery voice over the radio from this faraway place in Ohio called the Commonwealth, and these conversations happen over the course of the Whisperer War. So you deal with the Whisper stuff as you're dealing with the Commonwealth stuff. Now, again, the show is giving a lot of emphasis to the Whispers and a lot of backstory. I've seen a couple of previews to next week's episode, which I'm gonna go over in my next vlog, and it's the backstory of Alpha, Lydia, like all of them, Beta, just the rest, all of the rest of the Whisper characters that we know. It's their backstory. So, and again, Kirkman never did this in the comics. He spent of all the villains that he had, the Whisperers he spent the very least amount of time with. He spent more time with the Governor, Negan, the Commonwealth, all of them he spent far more time with. But the Whisperers, it was just, I don't know, a means to an end to kill off Andrea. Like, I never understood what he was doing with them. Like, he didn't. He had a great opportunity. He had great villains, and he squandered it. And that's my opinion, again. And I think the show, Angela Kang's like, holy crap, these are really unique villains. This is a fantastic idea to have, the walkers are scary enough, but people who wear the masks of the walkers, like, this is potential. You don't want to just, like, lose it. So you've had almost a year of the Whispers, but the content has been so fresh and unique, different areas of covering them, different ways you can cover them with this, fear, just fight them head on. And then there's the, oh my God, we're fearful. And there's this McCarthyism, who's a Whisperer. And there's this PTSD like we saw from Sadiq in last week's episode. So it doesn't feel stale. Sometimes like the Saviors did, just being these big baddies that swore a lot and, smiled and just took shit from you. And that seemed to go on for 2.5 seasons straight. with nothing really to break it up and make it feel different. This feels different. So I love what they're doing with the Whispers, but would they cut it short to add Princess in? Like, how? I just don't see the timeline of how you can add Princess in unless it's at the very end. Like, I'm talking the second to last, or if maybe the finale of season 10, just to give her some development, build her up for because season 11, that's the last announcement I was going to make. They confirmed that season 11 has it's happening. It's happening in fall 2020 into 2021, and it's probably going to deal with the Commonwealth. I don't know how much of the Commonwealth, but it's going to probably start to go into the major pieces of the Commonwealth. And again, Rick is a huge part of that Commonwealth storyline in the comics. And now that he's gone, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what they're going to do. A lot of people seem to think that the helicopter group is the Commonwealth, but I say no, unless I'm otherwise proven wrong. I think they're two totally different things. However, if they were going to end the comic and the show and the movie at the same time, you could do that. You could have the Commonwealth be the last civilization at the piece of the trifecta, and then that's when maybe Rick comes into play and you conclude them at the same time. I had posted this theory in a video a few months ago, and maybe that's the way they're going, because it would make sense. Maybe season 12 is the final season of The Walking Dead, and then you conclude, maybe the last Rick Grimes movie comes out a year later or a year before, or however you want to coincide it, and then that's kind of your end. Like, that's the way I see it going, because you're going to run out of comic material eventually, because Kirkman's done making them. So eventually you're going to hit that point. But how they bring in Princess, when they introduce the Commonwealth, these are questions that'll be answered in season 10, and I would love your feedback and your opinions on all of it. So write down below, let me know what you think about Maggie, about the new series, Princess, the actress whose name I can't pronounce, who's playing Princess. Let's see. And then, season 11. Are you happy there's a season 11? I did see an article, I guess we can end with this. I saw an article on IGN that said season 10's premiere had the lowest ratings of all of the premieres of The Walking Dead. But most people are moving away from cable, okay? AMC premiere, they let you see the episode a week early. At least for the premiere. I don't know if they're doing it for every episode, but for the premiere, they let you see it a week early. So you take away some of your viewership and you're funneling it into this app. So those ratings, like TV ratings, are no longer a good way of judging a show. Maybe Netflix downloads or Amazon downloads or AMC app, AMC Premiere subscriptions. That, like, you need to start measuring the success of your drama, cable television shows that are still on cable networks. You need to judge them as the technology advances, you need to advance with it in your measuring services. So some of these articles that come out and say that, is The Walking Dead failing because the ratings are bad? It's like, maybe a few years ago, we could say there was a little bit of concern before AMC premiere when season 7 was lacking because you had that explosive premiere with Negan killing Glenn and Abraham, and then a lot of people fell off the bandwagon. Sure, and there wasn't an AMC premiere, like I said. But now, like, it's been going, like, most people, the consensus is that season 9 was amazing, okay? It brought life back to a dead show, ironically, and people have been enjoying it thus far. I have. A lot of people like the premiere, and I think ratings, like, they need to, unless the ratings are really bad, they should be discarded, because there's more people, like, add the numbers of people watching it from other services, and it adds up. That's all I'm saying. So, I don't like when I see dishonest journalism like that. Like, it frustrates me, because it perpetrates this false reality that the show is dying, when in reality it has strong viewership. It's got strong numbers. Like, it's a freight train that has been refueled and restocked, and it's going strong. At least that's how I feel. So anyway, thank you for sticking in for this super long vlog as I went through all these different topics. I had a lot to get through, but I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys later. Thank you very much for watching, And as always, you can comment, rate, subscribe, of course, and I'll be giving my predictions for episode 2 of season 10 leading up to the next reaction video. Okay? Thank you guys. See you later.